heard Ms. Talene talking about your case, that she's having some difficulty talking to you about your case. Do you want to respond to that?
Yes, that is a biased opinion. She asked me to go out to the room, which we did. Then she asked me to wait because she was texting someone else, whomever, I don't know, it's not my business. While I was waiting for her texting that person, I was carried away. I was looking at the wall, at the ceiling. I don't know, I'm just keeping myself busy, not to get involved with her doing, so to say. After she was done with texting, she looked at me and she's like, in elevated voice, she started talking to me. I explained that she doesn't have to raise her voice at me. And she said that I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at the wall. I'm looking at the ceiling. And I explained that while I was doing so, she let me know that she is busy texting or doing whatever business, which is not affiliated to my case specifically. And this is the conversation she's bringing out from the room, saying that we couldn't have a conversation and she didn't have a chance to explain about additional charges which were added to my case. It doesn't make sense. Yes, you didn't have a chance to explain because you were busy first texting another client, as you mentioned it, and then you were busy raising your voice at me for no reason. I didn't even understand for what. I mean, what did I do wrong to you? Okay. Then she just walked away from the room, and that's all it was done, basically. She came and she sat here, and now you are having the conversation you are having. That is the case, basically.
All right, so a bit of a conflict today.
Conflict? I didn't even have a chance to express myself verbally in one way or another. As I mentioned previously, she was busy doing her thing. I mean, I cannot be like forcing myself upon someone if she's busy texting another client while she's in the room with me, and the concern should be like concentrated within my context.
Well, let's take a moment then. There doesn't seem to be anything that prohibits you from having a brief 5-minute conversation with her right now.
She's right that this conversation wouldn't go far.
Why not?
Because it was such a I mean, she walked away from the room like something.
Why can't you have a conversation with her now?
Represent me.
Ms. Talene, are you willing to represent the defendant?
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Mustafa,
you are being dishonest there?
I am not being dishonest. I did not say that.
But you created that impression when you walked out from the room without saying anything, that you're not willing to represent me.
Are you willing to have a conversation with her, Mr. Mustafa, about your case right now?
I don't think this is going to go any further. I mean, after this, what she said, it wouldn't register within my conscious mind. I wouldn't be able to fake any type of conversation.
You're not going to have a conversation with her?
I'm sorry?
You're not going to have a conversation with her when she's willing to have a conversation with you about your case?
But we had a chance, though, and it didn't go far.
It is not the court's job to mediate conflicts that you might have with your lawyer.
I don't even comprehend the reason of the conflict.
Doesn't seem like there should be a conflict. You may not have liked the fact that she wasn't talking to you directly in that moment, but she's providing you the opportunity to have a conversation with her now about your case. And I don't see a good reason why you should not have that conversation. If you do not want to be represented by a lawyer, you can indicate that. But this is your lawyer. This is the lawyer that I've appointed in your case. If you want a lawyer to represent you, you're going to work with Ms. Talene.
But in this case, our relationship is forced by a court itself.
I'm not forcing a relationship. I'm giving you the opportunity to have counsel. And the court's going to pay for your counsel. That's right. But I'm not forcing that. If you want to have a lawyer represent you, it's Ms. Talene as your lawyer.
Okay, which is my other option?
To represent you can represent yourself. You can represent yourself in the case if you choose to.
I will express myself verbally and I will say everything what I know, which is related to the case specifically. Ever since you've assigned a lawyer or, the defense to me, we haven't met. I mean, we haven't had any conversation over the phone, over the text message, email, any other type of conversation. Okay. So this is basically second time I had a chance to see her,
right,
and which didn't go far. So
but you're prohibiting it from going forward right now.
She's incompetent about the case. She doesn't know what is going on. We haven't had personal conversations ever. The last one a few minutes ago failed. So, I mean, I would have a good chance just to explain myself in the best way possible, that's all. It would be the best choice, since she doesn't know, and I do. I mean, related to me specifically.
Okay. All right, I've heard from the defendant. Ms. Talene, if you're suggesting that the defendant's position here constitutes an inability to assist in his own defense that would constitute a competency challenge, I don't have that in front of me. I have someone who perhaps doesn't want to interact with you in the way that you want to interact with them, but I don't view that as a competency issue from my perspective. I don't think it's been raised such that I could rule on it.
Well, and as I said, this sort of came up this afternoon, so this wasn't something I had been planning to be discussing.
Right, okay. Yeah. But we do have a problem because it appears to me that Mr. Mustafa is not willing to have a conversation with you about his case. Is that right, Mr. Mustafa? You do not want to have a conversation with Ms. Talene at this point?
Well, going back to my previous experience, which we had just had a few minutes ago, I'm recalling unpleasant experience, which is incompetent from her behalf. You know, she is not as, she doesn't behave as one could have expected, specifically within the judicial field. And yes, I'm willing to say things on my own behalf. Yes, I'm expressing myself verbally for my own case.
You're expressing yourself right now. The question that I have...
The hearing, though, did it start yet? Or we are still...
we called you
at 2 and we are at least 40 minutes late. Over here it says 2.
That's right.
Jury readiness conference.
That's right.
I don't know how it works. In my opinion, if it says 2, it means 2 exactly. Over here we are already...
Well, you're not correcting that.
That's
it's 2 o'clock for you.
It's double check if we are in a conference or this is a pre-conference. What is this?
Let me explain that.
Thank you.
You were scheduled to be here at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. The court does its best to see cases in a timely manner. It doesn't mean that when someone's scheduled at 2, right at 2, the hearing's going to begin. Because at 2 o'clock, there may be conversations that the prosecutor wants to have with the defendant and the defense lawyer. The court may be engaged in another case at that time. So the case has begun. When I called your case forward, that's when this hearing began.
So about a little over 10 minutes ago?
That's perhaps correct.
Okay.
Still have a 5 or 10 minute conversation with her right now. But it sounds like you're refusing to do that.
Nothing comes into my mind. I don't know what to say.
First rule on the motion to amend. I'm going to grant the motion to amend the added 2 charges, and then I'm going to advise the defendant of those 2 charges, and then we're going to go from there. So the prosecutor has filed a motion to amend to add counts 2 and 3. 2 will be threatening bodily injury, which is a violation of section 534 of the Boulder Revised Code. And then count 3 would be use of fighting words in violation of section 536 of the Boulder Revised Code.
I would like to be specific. If someone came up with such a charges, I would like to know what did I say to whom. And
hold on a moment.
when.
Hold on so I can step through this one thing at a time. All right. I don't want you to interrupt me while I'm advising you of the charges, and I'm going to tell you what they are, and then we'll go from there. So I told you what those 2 charges are. They both allegedly occurred on August 27th of 2024. Understand those 2 charges. I can read them to you if you'd like.
I wouldn't make such a claim. I'm guessing what is happening over here, but no. And it's not related to my competence.
So they've alleged that you violated, the first charge was a trespassing charge. They've added 2 charges. I've granted their motions to amend, and now I'm telling you about those 2 charges. And as I mentioned, the count 2 that they've added.
Who did I threaten to do anything?
They haven't indicated that yet. They simply indicated that the count 2 is now charged of threatening bodily injury under section 534 of the Boulder Revised Code. I'm going to read that ordinance to you.
Okay.
The charge of use of fighting words is a violation of section.
To be specific within the context as well. If you came up with such a charges, I want to know the details.
I understand you want to know the details.
Yes, thank you.
That's not my job to tell you the details.
What do you mean it's not?
My job is to tell you the charge. All right, and my job is to tell you where it's alleged that this has occurred.
So you are judging me without knowing the details?
No, I'm telling you the charge. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you, Mr. Mustafa. I'm telling you what the charge is. It's merely an allegation. It doesn't mean you committed the charge. I'm just telling you what the charge is. Now, at some point, it's an accusation. It's an accusation only. Use of fighting words says that no person shall, with the intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person, repeatedly insult, taunt, or challenge another person in a manner likely to provoke a disorderly response.
The only people I had a conversation with that night specifically, it was police officers. That's all. I haven't had any other conversation with any other person.
Understood.
And everything what I've said, it was based on emotional state of mind. That is first. Second, I'm responsible for everything what I've said to a police officer ever in my life. And I'm responsible for what I'm doing.
Okay. I'm going to ask you again to let me finish telling you what the charge is, and then asking you how you'd like to proceed with that charge.
Okay. This is not the actual court. This is a jury readiness conference. It means conference. I'm here to communicate about the case or on behalf of the case.
If you are not going to listen to me, we're going to have a great deal of trouble. All right. I do not want to be in a position where you continue to speak when I'm asking you to listen. I need you to listen so I can tell you.
You're threatening me then?
I'm not threatening anyone. I'm telling you.
A great deal of trouble.
We're going to have trouble with getting through the case.
A great deal of trouble is expandable for you.
Mr. Mustafa.
Let's see how far it's going to go.
Mr. Mustafa, I do not want to have to do anything other than tell you what your charges are. That's all I'm trying to accomplish. But you're making it very difficult. You're making it difficult.
What does conference mean? Conference mean is communication on behalf of the case, which is related to the context specifically.
No, this is a time for the parties to confer with the court and let the court know whether or not they've reached a resolution and whether or not they're ready to proceed to trial. It is not a time for you to go talk about the details of the case. This is not that time, actually.
It's
No.
related to me. How do you mean?
It's not. I'm telling you what the rules
I have
are.
the right to ask you about the details of the false accusation.
Not today, you do not. Not today, you
It's
don't.
related to my case.
Not today.
Specifically. Not today. When I come back on the court day?
Yeah, on the jury trial date, you'll have the
Then I'm
opportunity.
going to be able to express myself.
Yes, you are.
And talk on behalf of the case.
Yes, that's
But
right.
today I'm just listening.
That's right. And being advised of what the new charges are. Okay?
What do I know? I know nothing.
So let me go over that charge with you. The charge is use of fighting words. I've described it. It says no person shall, with the intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another, repeatedly insult, taunt, or challenge another in a manner likely to provoke a disorderly response. That's the allegation that the prosecutor has made against you. They say that that's what occurred on this original date part.
No.
Do you understand the charge?
Over here, it's not Chicago. It's open space mountain parks. It's 2 separate properties.
Do you understand the charge?
City of Boulder, but it's not the same thing.
Do you understand the charge? Do you understand what he's
It's
alleged?
amazing the way you speak. If you have to be precise, specifically within the judicial field.
I think I'm being pretty precise.
I don't think so.
I read you the charge. Do you understand what the charge means? Do you understand what it means? Do you understand what it means?
Okay, I got the point. Next.
No, but my question is, do you understand the charge?
Yes, but I do not plead guilty.
Oh, that's fine. That was going to be my next question. How do you plead to that charge, which is count 2 of use of fighting words? How do you plead?
I plead no guilty.
Okay, that's fine. The third charge, and the second one that's been added, is a charge of threatening bodily injury. And I'm not saying you're guilty. I'm simply saying this is the charge. It's an allegation. The allegation is that you threatened bodily injury in violation of section 534 of the Boulder Revised Code. Do you understand that charge of threatening bodily injury?
I plead no guilty.
Do you understand the charge? You're not here. You don't understand it. Would you like me to read what the ordinance says?
Well, I'm assuming that it says I've threatened to kill someone, yes?
Let me tell you what it says. It says no person...
Specifically a police officer?
Let me tell you what the ordinance says.
Okay, that's fine.
No person shall knowingly, by threat or physical action, place another in fear of imminent bodily injury. Do you understand that charge?
I do.
Okay, and how do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty.
All right, we're getting there. All right, so now I've accepted not guilty pleas. So there's 3 not guilty pleas that have been entered on the 3 charges that are pending.
And everything started with me trying to get water from the water fountain. And this is how far it has come. It's amazing. It is amazing. To me personally, yes. From someone who came from another country, yes.
All right, let's
I'm
talk.
stating it to your face. I have no respect to a police officer. And everything what I've said, I'm responsible for it. And that conversation, everything what he came up with is from within that conversation.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's get back to where we were talking about before. We're now in the position of you having pled not guilty to the 3 charges that are pending. Right now, the case is scheduled for a jury trial for November 14th.
Okay. At 8.
That's right.
Okay.
The question that I have is, right now, Ms. Talene is your lawyer. She's the one that will represent you at that trial.
I don't know how far it's going to go. I'm not sure. Do I have another option?
Do you have another option?
No, I'm asking if I have another option.
Yes.
Or can I get someone else? Because I don't think we'll get along. Just the way she treats me. She doesn't have to raise her voice at me for no reason. I haven't done anything wrong. It's the same over here. I mean, first, she makes me wait while she's communicating with whomever. It's not my business. Second, when she's done texting, like suddenly she woke up and started yelling at me for no reason. Yo, I mean, would you please have a respect?
So if I'm understanding you correctly, You're in suggesting that you have what the court calls irreparable differences between you and your lawyer, so such that she can no longer represent you. Is that what you're saying?
Or I wouldn't want her to represent me because that is my conscious choice.
You do have the right to choose between whether you are represented or not. In our court, you don't get to simply say, I don't like this lawyer, so I want you to appoint another lawyer.
But
It doesn't work
get
that way.
alone, though. I mean, she wouldn't even give me a chance to say anything. She just walks away from the room as soon as I ask her not to raise her voice at me. That's all I said, basically. Did I ask something like extraordinary? That I dislike when someone yells at me? Is it inappropriate within the judicial system of the United States?
You have come to the conclusion that she's mistreated you. I understand that's how you feel.
Listening how she presented herself in our relationship at the very beginning, yes. This is my personal perception.
Right.
Thank you.
And that she yelled at you, and that justifies me putting someone else in the position of being your lawyer. You said that. I can't conclude that.
I'm not defending myself. I'm just expressing my perception.
I understand.
Judge Khan, I'm just letting you know that the district court has asked me if it is at all possible to go upstairs because there's apparently several very lengthy sentencings.
And are you scheduled to be there at 3?
Yes.
See, her timing is precise. 3 is 3. My timing is 2, but it's going to start at 2:30. It's not precise.
I mean, if I need to stay down here, that's what it is. What it is.
I think we need to reset the case.
Her time more than you care about my time?
We're going to reset this hearing.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to look on calendars next Friday. I need some time to think about this. There's obviously a disconnect between you and Mr. Lean, and
No, there is a disconnect between me and the judicial system, the whole thing.
that may be true as well. I get you. But we have to figure out a way to get you through your trial and have you fairly represented. And I don't know whether that means having you proceed on your own or whether that means...
To me, I have to be honest.
And Judge, I'm
just going
sorry,
back to
can I-
everything what I've been through here, and just to this specific case that I was trying to get water from the water fountain, which is outside, and how far this has come. That is mind-blowing, man. It's amazing to me.